Yo, what's up everyone? This is Arcando and welcome to a brand new video today. I'm going to show you how to make a trap drop from scratch using my brand new Splice Sample Pack that came out recently in collaboration with Dropgun. I'm really excited to show you guys this sample pack that I made. It contains a lot of one-shots, construction kits, presets for serum and silent, so I think it can be really helpful to all your producers out there that make pop, future bass, trap, but even like other styles within the dance scene. So without further ado, let's get right into it. I'm in my Logic project file right now, and I'm going to show you everything on how I make my drops, how I start them, what tempos I use, how I process them. So yeah, let's get into it. Alright, so right now I'm in an empty Logic project. As you can see, the tempo is set to 120 BPM. Now obviously I don't want to stay in this range. I mean, you could, but all my drops are around either the 150 BPM or the 90 BPM. I feel like those BPMs work the best because they're not too fast, but they're also not too slow to use. So today I just feel like working at 90 BPM, so I'll bring it down to 90 BPM. Alright, cool. So I always like to start off with the rhythm first, because if the rhythm is already catchy, if it already makes my head bop, I already know that this drop is going to be like really cool. If I already have a certain energy from the start when making a drop. So right now I'm going to go into my sample pack. Let me actually find it. All right. Okay, so here's a sample pack. Just a quick information about this. So this is the construction kits and MIDI folder. So in this folder you'll find stems and one-shots of each track. And then we have the serum presets folder and a silent presets folder. And then this is the full mega mix of all the 5 demos in one. And a description. So just to get a beat going, I want to go here and I want to go to the one-shots folder. Obviously with a beat we need a kick and a snare, so I already know that this kick is really cool. Alright, just really punchy, really like hip-hop-ish, so let me just drag it in. And then, let me see. Yeah, there's also a lot of cool vocal ad-libs that I recorded myself that we can use as like an ambience layer later on. Alright, really punchy snare, so I'm just dragging that snare real quick. And actually remove this. Alright, kick, snare. Alright, so we're going to start off with the rhythm first. So just to get like a really quick loop going, I want to already have like, I'm kind of already beatboxing in my head, like where the kick should be placed. Obviously the main snare, I want it to be on the second and the fourth count. And then the other kicks are going to be kind of moving with the snare. So. Alright, cool. And then the loop is going to actually continue here. So what I always like to do with my kicks in drops is to use a kick stutter right before the next section happens. This indicates that there is a new part coming and it drives the drop more. Even if it's just small things, you know, everything counts in a drop. So what I mean with the stutter kick is, let me actually make it really quick. Kind of something like this, and then I'll actually turn down the gain because I don't want it to be like too loud. I'm gonna put it on fade. Right, so what I just did is I just added a lot of kicks really fast, and that will accentuate the next kick even more. We'll just give more power to the next kick that's coming. And to make it a bit more smooth, I want to add a fade like a really short fade actually, and pretty big like fade out, so we don't have like any clicks or something. All right, cool. All right. And then right there is, I want to add like a triplet kick probably, so. And also for this, I want to add a quick fade out. All right, cool. All right, so now this is our beat right now. Maybe just add another kick right here. All right. Now, obviously, this is just like the basic structure of the beat, but now that at least we have a kick and snare, I kind of know like, you know, where I want things to be placed. So our next element, I want to find some sort of white noise. Now, I know that I have this like ring roll drum. It's actually really cool. This is the same one I used in Medusa, actually. And then again here. All right, and now maybe we can already add also chants. So I found this one. It's pretty cool. All right, cool. So now we already have a little bit of a structure. Let me actually look in my loop folder. All right. So actually, this is a whole loop with the ring roll and shakers. All right, so I definitely want to keep those shakers in there, but we don't need this ring roll again since, you know, we already have it. So let me just cut this. All right, cool. So this is already our beats really quick. Let me actually loop this. So we have 8 bars now. All right, now let's see if there's anything else that we can use, maybe from a different kit. I'm now in my Hold On To Me folder. Let's go to the drop. Maybe this reverse kick is actually pretty cool. So maybe I can add it here and add it actually right here, maybe. All right, hold on. There we go. All right, actually the next thing I'm going to do right now is create a group of the drums. So I know that I have just one folder with all the drums inside. It's going to make it a lot easier for me to mix everything in one go instead of going through every layer individually. I always like to work in groups, actually. It makes everything just way easier and way quicker to work with. Okay, great. So let me see if there's anything else. Maybe something that we can do is actually add a crash every time the snare hits. That might give it a bit more attack. No, never mind. All right. So I already think the drums sound pretty neat. I really like how it sounds like, but just to make sure what it does, I want to add a FabFilter Pro Q3 to kind of analyze what the drums are doing and see if we can kind of work with. All right, fire. So that's pretty sick. We can already just leave it as what it is. So actually, I'm gonna delete this. All right, so now for the next part, we can actually move on to the sub bass, or the main bass section of the drop. So I want to go to serum, and I want to start off with the sub bass actually. So I'm going to serum. And I want to have like a really distorting sub bass. Now, I want to kind of start from scratch with this one. I think there's even a sub bass like this in the pack. But just for the sake of this, I want to just kind of do it from scratch and let you guys kind of know how I would do a sub bass. This is actually a kind of technique that I'm kind of doing new for my songs. It's a technique I learned from That Behavior, which they do a lot in their songs, and it works very well. It's like this sub bass that's very distorted, and it has a lot of white noise in it, but you also distort the white noise, which makes the overall sub bass like very crunchy and very powerful. Alright, so first we want to go to menu and then go to init preset, and then we can actually leave this wavetable for what it is. Right, super simple, like nothing special right now. If I turn on noise, level kind of up, and then I go to distortion, and here's where this really big effect happens. So go to, for example, asim. That one also works very nice. Drive all the way up, mix all the way up. Very gritty sub bass. It's like a super simple sub bass to make, but literally the distortion is what is driving the sub bass eventually. So okay, so sub bass, right off the bat, to make sure that it won't clash with my other basses, I want to add an EQ and cut out a lot of the high end actually. And then I also want to add a little bit of distortion. Probably go to like magic mastering. Alright, cool. So now we want to add a little bit of OTT as well. Just a little bit. Actually, I'm gonna. Alright. And then we're gonna add the sidechain. So I'm gonna go to my Pro C. I'm gonna go to sidechain compression, ARCANDO, which is just like the preset I always use. And I'm gonna go to my kick, turn off the auto. Alright, cool. So and also what I think is very important in drops is to have the sub bass be very playful and very energetic in the drop. So I feel like the more playful the sub bass is, the cooler and the more alive your drop will be. So to make this happen, I want to add like stutters and glides and pitch bends. I want to go to this area here where it says mono and legato, and this is for the glide function in serum. So we'll turn on mono, turn on legato, and then portamento goes up to like here. Alright, cool. I want to add a bit more high end with it. Alright, cool. And then I want to loop this. But actually what I want to do is, especially with this part, the bass isn't really that powerful yet. It has nothing to do with the sound, but more with the sidechain itself. So to make sure that the sidechain is also happening when the snare hits, only at that part, I want to have a ghost kick that is actually doing what the kick and snare is doing whenever I want to. if that makes sense. So if I'm going to duplicate this, I'll just rename this ghost kick, and I'll bring the kick down. Bring the kick down here. I'll make sure it's muted, of course, because otherwise twice the kick is playing, and that would only make it worse. So let me just drag it to where I want the sidechain to happen, which is right at this kick, this snare, kick, snare, there we go. And then also this part right here. And now the only thing that we need to do, I'm actually rename this really quick. The only thing that we need to do is to add the sidechain to the ghost kick. So it's ghost kick right here. And then I kind of want to have a pitch bend right here. Do. Let me actually reduce the glide just a little bit. Alright, cool. So that's the sub bass, and now obviously we need to add the main bass to it. So I'm going to duplicate this layer. I'm going to remove the effects for now, and I'm going to go through my preset folder. Alright, I think for now I want to use this one. Maybe I'm going to add that Reese bass later. So I'm going to add the sidechain compression, and I'm going to add the same saturation. And I'm going to add an EQ, and this is just to cut out the low end, so that's not like interfering with the sub bass. Alright, so let me find the right key for this. Now the thing is that for these tape stops and for the pitch bends, I'd rather not use that for the actual bass, because that's gonna just make it way too big, especially for the main top line lead that's going to be on top of it. So I'd rather just delete these high notes here. There we go. Alright, and then alright, that can go. What the fuck? And then also the glide actually should be the exact same as the main sub bass. And the reason is because you want to have the basses sound as one. You want to make it like just glued together. And the more you have all the basses play the exact same thing and the exact same glide and everything, the more it's going to be an actual like glued bass group, if that makes sense. So this glide is at almost 400 milliseconds, so we can just bring this to the same, yeah, kind of like that, it's fine. Alright, now obviously this is not really giving a lot of extra power, but just wait. I'm going to add now some brass hits that are going to accentuate the drop way more. So if I would go to my sample pack again, going to the first one, going to the one shots, let me just see what more is in here. Alright, there's nothing like a one shot in here, but maybe if we go to the fourth one, I know that there's like a brass hit in here. There we go. We could probably use that one. So what I want to do is I want to add sorry, I want to add the brass hit as a sample. in Serum. So I'm going to basically use Serum as a sampler instrument. So I just drag it. Hold on, it needs to be on first. Actually, let me initialize this. Needs to be on, level up. Cool. All right, let's see how this sounds like. And of course the legato should also be on. 400. There we go, cool. Let me add just a little bit of more OTT maybe. Whoa, alright, sorry, what the fuck? I need to loop that. Alright, cool. So now what I actually want to do is I want to layer that with another brass hit. So I would probably actually select another pack for this one. Let me check. See how that sounds like really quick. Legato, same thing, so just glide at like 400 milliseconds. Alright, cool. Let me just loop this really quick. So now I want to have that middle part be even more energetic. So what I want to do is I want to go to that my other bass. Hold on. This one. This is the kind of the same bass I used in my actual Medusa song. Okay, so basically this bass is very organic, and that is what makes it so powerful in combination with the other basses. It basically makes it way more organic because it's a moving bass. If I play it, you see that the wavetable is actually moving with it. Maybe so a little bit of noise can already do a lot of good work. And again, as you can see, the distortion is like, very heavy. And mixed with the white noise, it can add a very cool, like, energy part to it. So now I'm going to loop this. And we're not done yet because we only have 5 basses, but we can fill it up even more. Now this is a bass that I love using a lot. And like a Reese bass now. But if I turn on the cutoff, and I'll make sure that the glide is correct. Alright, cool. So then I make sure that the sidechain is here, and I make sure that there's no low end. Hold on. So it gives a lot more power to it. I don't know if this bass is actually in my pack, but just to show you guys what it is, it's just a really big bass. There's a square saw WRD, whatever that is, and basically it's mixed with another very heavy white noise preset, the J106 chorus. There is a little bit of reverb on this, the compression, a compressor, and a distortion. And the compressor and the distortion are what's making the bass so powerful. If you go to the compressor and you turn on multiband, this is what makes it like really in your face. If I turn it off, it just adds so much more white noise to it, so much more high end and high mid frequencies that it just blasts through your speakers. Distortion is diode 2. It's probably one of my favorite distortions from Serum. It's like very clean, yet very aggressive. So if I turn it off, it's almost like a distortion filter. Actually, it filters the sound. If you go to the post section, you can see that it's filtering the sound a lot. Alright, now just to make sure that it has all the energy it needs, I probably want to add another brass hit. So I chose my Medusa brass hit. And then I want to go to the glide, again, make sure it's at 400 milliseconds. And we're just going to copy paste this and see how it sounds like. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to group all my basses together. I want to leave the sub bass alone. I'm going to group all my basses together. And I'm going to rename it. So I'm going to say bass. I want to add an EQ and see what it does. Alright, so there's a lot of low end still going on, and obviously we want the main sub bass to be the lowest instrument. So to make sure that it's not, colliding with each other, I want to remove a little bit of sub bass here. Now I want to add also a bit of compression to make sure that everything is like, not peaking, or just that everything is controlled, basically. Alright, so the release bit. So maybe what I also actually want to add is a little bit of excitement to it. So I want to go to specialized exciter and alright, now actually I want to possibly control the bass even more, and by doing this I want to go to a Pro Q3. Now you could also use a Pro MB for this, but it's very weird. Whenever I use a Pro MB, there's a slight latency happening, and I don't know how to turn it off. But with the Pro Q3, it doesn't happen, so I'm just going to do it with the Pro Q3. But it's basically using a multiband compressor on the bass to control the bass as much as possible and as even as possible. So what we're going to do is we're going to compress only the higher frequencies. So I would kind of double dot here. Make dynamic. Now the reason I do it with a multiband compressor instead of an EQ is because if you use an EQ and you cut out those frequencies will not get back, or you basically cut them out completely out of the sound. Whereas when you use a multiband compressor, so that can be with the Pro MB or the Pro Q3 or any multiband compressor, you can select different areas where you want the sound to be compressed. So instead of directly removing those frequency areas, you will just compress it, which is a way more natural and way more efficient way of taking care of annoying frequencies, if that makes sense. So alright. So now the next thing that I want to add is I want to add white noise to make sure that the bass gets more body to it and more energy, basically. So I want to go to serum and I'm going to remove the saturation. cut this. I'm going to go to init preset, noise. There we go, cool. All right, turn this here. And actually remove even more white noise, so it's just, all right. Alright, so anyways, now we finalized the basses. I already know that in my drop gun pack, I have a really cool atmospheric loop. If I go to loops, and then I go to the ambience vocal, this is actually really cool for the second part, to just like have sort of hoover in the drop to make sure that the energy is kind of being supported by another element. So obviously this is not the right key, so I will just transpose it. Just make sure that it's in the right. Cool. Okay, so I kind of want to look for another cool fill to maybe like kind of make the drop a bit more powerful at the other bar. So I want to go to this one. Let me see. All right, I'm gonna go to slicing. We're already stretched. That's very cool. Actually, for the ending, I want to use the sub drop already that's in here as well. Just like a cool ending, just whatever, it doesn't really matter. Okay, so now we're gonna work on the top lead. Alright, that's maybe cool. Okay, so I want to see how it sounds like if I... Because obviously that was more pop, but if I make it... Wow. Okay, hold on. Let me delete this. Alright, so I want to kind of do it like... Boom, boom. So maybe... Because that happens like last minute, so I kind of want to move that around here. And let me just... Alright, hold on. Alright, that can actually work very nicely. Now, it sounds very dry, of course, so we're gonna add a good camel crusher for this. Let's turn off the fat mode. Then I want to add a little bit of reverb for this. Maybe we can also add like a CLA vocals. Let me turn off the reverb really quick. Alright, cool. So I just turned the mix down a little bit and I selected a preset, Start Me Up Dry. That one is always really cool. Maybe we can actually compress it even more. Alright, cool. A little bit of reverb. Just gonna kind of maybe even do it like this. And then I want to also add a little bit of OTT over here, just to make sure that everything is good. And then obviously I also want to add a sidechain compression for this one. All right, there we go. Alright, so there I wanted to go higher. We might not even need this, so I'll just mute it for now. And then there is like the loop that kind of continues. I want to kind of do it a bit like this. Let me just do it like. Alright, let me just do it like right there. Okay, so now to make sure that the melody is still in key, because right now it's not really in key, I want to use Melodyne and alright. I don't want to, yeah, should be right there. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm quickly going to bounce this so I can add it in the same group. So just I just pressed Control B and then it will make a quick bounce, and I'll just drag it right in here again, mute this. Maybe I kind of want to do a different bass progression actually. Yeah, that's cool. All right, now for the sub bass, kind of the same thing. Remove fade. Okay, cool. So now I just added like a quick stutter and a tape stop. So right there is my next one shot. Cool. Alright, this is just like really quick. Just a quick melody. So this is like already something that you can do with the vocal melodies in the pack. That's super cool. I actually really like what I just made. So let me see if we could possibly kind of layer it with something. That one. This one is actually really cool. Actually, my friend Audicube recorded this when he was back in Holland. Just like randomly this popped out and I just processed it and I was like, this is so sick. I gotta add this in the pack. Alright. Alright, and then I actually want to have like another kick right here. Alright, and actually for the second part, maybe what I want to do is add the bass harmony. And this is really handy to make the second drop more energetic and more playful. Okay, so now, I mean, let's just go through the fifth one and see if there's like anything cool.
Woo!
I mean, I guess this chant can be cool for like or maybe like right before the drop hits. Hold on, right there. Can be like a cool extra thing to add, like just chants to fill up the drop. But yeah, guys, so anyways, I'm gonna play it from the beginning till the end, so you guys have like a general idea on how it sounds like, and yeah. Alright, so guys, hope you enjoyed my new tutorial on how to make a drop from scratch using my brand new pack. Yet again, guys, the pack is out now, so go check it out. It's available on Splice, so you can just grab whatever sample you like. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.